All the younger composers, I might add, the composers who have matured and studied, in fact, since the 1930s, owe a very great deal to MacDougall. And I might, at this point, I think, mention the piano concerto of MacDougall, which has probably been the most influential of his later works. The first movement in particular, a masterpiece of the concertante and symphonic idioms. Some listeners may recall that wonderful opening subject on the piano. I'll just play a little bit of the recording. The rhythmical interest, the rhythmical ingenuity of this, where the bass is in diminution of the melody consisting of the falling third and the fourth in the right-hand part of the piano part, is particularly outstanding.
When are they going to have the hall painted, my dear?
I wonder if you would reserve your questions
It's peeling off the ceiling.
after I have finished talking. Porter?
Yes, sir.
Would you have that Irish lady removed?
Oh, yeah, yes. Would you come along with me, dear? It's not right. It's not right. Every time I come in here, pain in my hair. Shh. It takes so much getting out. Yes, well, I'm going all the time. Yes, I'm coming. Yeah. Ah! We apologise to listeners for the interruption. The lady, who appears to be a member of some subversive movement, has now been removed.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we finish, are there any more questions?
Mr. Hopkins, I have been the postmaster at Pennyhasset for about 15 years now. And I remember when MacDougall was living in Pennyhasset, he had quite an interesting, shall we say, affair with the local policeman's daughter. Could you tell us any more about this? I was very interested in the outcome, as you might say.
Well, Mr. Angus MacStammer, as I said at the opening of this lecture, the life story of the composer is completely unimportant compared with his works.
The local policeman didn't think so.
Yes, but Mr. MacStammer, the local policeman was neither a musician nor a music lover.
Oh, I don't know. He used to sing. What was it? We used to have concerts at Pennyhasset, and oh dear, what was that song? Oh, you know the one. Nelly something.
Well, in any case, Mr. MacStammer, I really don't think that is relevant to our proceedings this afternoon.
Barbara Allen, I think.
It was indeed.
Barbara Allen.
It was in
a
any
grand
case.
tune, is that?
It was a very...
In Scarlet
Yes, but Mr. MacStammer, it was a very different kind of music from the symphonies that we are discussing this afternoon. This is a program for serious music lovers.
Oh, I like that song.
Yes, well, quite so, Mr. MacDougall. But if I started listing all the things that I like, we should be here until a week tomorrow morning.
They'll have to put the heaters on, won't they? In any case, I have
now, ladies and gentlemen,
have to get back and
there are just 3 minutes left.
Out
3 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. Any more questions before we come to the end of this lecture? Do remember that this lecture is being broadcast, that your questions will be of interest to members of the listening public.
Mr. Hopkins. Hopkins. I've heard this symphony before, and I quite like it, but I've never heard it conducted by Sir Malcolm Sargent, and I wondered if there was any reason for this. Does Sir Malcolm dislike the work, or is it simply that it's rather beyond him? Because, I mean, I know he's not what you might call a Tommy Beecham, and I just wondered, why he's never tackled it.
Thank you, Mr. Wimple. As a matter of fact, I am very, very pleased that you have asked that question, because it gives me an opportunity to clear up a serious misunderstanding which is rather prevalent among present-day English musical audiences. The reason why Sir Malcolm Sargent has not included MacDougall Symphony in C in his repertoire of late is for a modest reason, a reason of personal modesty. Sir Malcolm feels that this, which is probably one of the most complicated scores ever penned by any composer, requires years of study before a conductor is able to cope with its many problems. Problems not merely of orchestration, of sheer conducting and stick technique, but more especially of interpretative insight, which is required to do justice to a passage like this.
In Scarlet Town, where
Yes,
I
Mr.
was
McStammer,
born.
but we are now going off the air.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our broadcast from the Feather Market at Walthamstow. And we leave Mr. Hopkins cheerfully playing the infinitely complex first subject from the first movement of the first, and we hope the last symphony of MacDougall.